A very good morning to all. We are actually today we are having actually Dr. Rajesh Kumar Yadav from AIMS Patna. He is Ramalinga Swami Fellow there actually, and we are interacting him with him under our before mission actually, and we have earlier interacted on 13th October with him, and he is the very good actually in the area of work actually he's doing actually related to cancer. And so we thought actually that we will have his webinar under the cluster of cancer which we are having. And Dr. Manoj Garg is helping us actually in this interaction. So thank you very much actually. And I'll now request maybe Dr. Das actually can give a brief actually about the cluster actually, and then we can start the interaction. Yes, Doctor.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma. And I think Manoj being coordinator, Manoj should give that cluster introductions and then.
Doctor. Okay. Yeah, Manoj, yeah, please tell about the cluster and then you can introduce the speaker. Namaskar, Doctor. Dr. Silva Murthy also joined.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, Das sir,
Good
Rajesh.
morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
So, Rajesh, nice to see you.
Same here.
And we are all looking forward to listen to you and understand what all your exciting research which you have done in this week. And we are also looking forward to see your path, which is the trajectory in which we are looking at, because you are a brilliant Ramalinga Swami Fellow.
Thank you, sir.
This is a highly creditable achievement in this young age, and also your publications, all that speaks volumes about your research contributions. So please go ahead and we will listen to you, then we will interact with you. All the best, Dr. Rajesh. God bless you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah, Manoj, actually now, please. Yeah, you may.
So, good morning, respected members and dear colleagues. So today we have Dr. Rajesh Kumar Yadav with us. He is a Ramalinga Swami Fellow at AIMS. Brief background about Dr. Rajesh Kumar Yadav. So Dr. Rajesh completed his graduation and post-graduation from Calcutta University in chemistry and biochemistry. And Dr. Rajesh obtained his doctoral degree, which is PhD degree in biochemistry and molecular biology from Indian Institute of Chemical Biology, which is one of the very best CSIR institute, and Jadavpur University. And during his PhD, he studied the role of mitochondria and oxidative stress in the pathogenesis of the leishmania, which is one of the major cause of Kala Azar in Indian population and all over the world. So later on, he joined hospital, and this is a very research on the chin-related diseases. And there he joined under the supervision of Dr. Jonet F. Patridge, who is kind of father of looking at the chromatin remodeling and epigenomics. And there he extended his work looking at the chromatin remodeling and epigenetics in the tumorigenesis and using a yeast system. And he discovered that there are the cancer-associated histone which have mutations. And then he identified their role in the genomic stability and how this genomic instability basically lead to the change in the genomic and epigenomic landscape and leading to the tumorigenesis. Apart from his excellent research contribution, he has published more than 20 research articles in well-reputed scientific journals, and he is also recipient of several national and international awards, and currently he is member of several scientific societies, And because of his contribution, he is able to get this very prestigious fellowship, which is Ramalinga Swami Fellowship from the Department of Biotechnology. And with this little introduction, I invite you, Dr. Rajesh, to educate us on the histone mutation and their role in the genomics, epigenomics, and tumorigenesis.
Let's give a big applause to him. Let's clap for him. Very good, Rajesh.
Thank you. Dear respected panelists, and very good morning to all of you. And thank you very much for such a kind introduction. And with this, I will try to start my talk. Today, I will be talking about cancer-associated histone S3.3G34 mutations. Basically, two mutations, S3G34R and G34B. So before going that, I will just not go in detail about, since it is already well explained by Dr. Garg about my experiences and everything. Basically, I will be talking today about histone project, and the part of the project has been published in 2017 in eLife, and the recent work comparing G34B mutation is published in February 2021. So it is very recent, and I thought that I will share a bit of story that, and also I have been part of other project, CAR T cell therapy, which I'm thinking for a long-term career track, along with the continuation of my Fusion East work. So basically, chromatin is made up of nucleosomes. Nucleosomes are the basic unit where 147 base pair of the DNA is wrapped around histone octamer to form nucleosomes. Nucleosomes form beads on a string structure to form 10 nanometer fiber, and then it further associate with the non-histone protein and other protein where chromatin got a lot of folding, and the DNA is just buried inside the nucleus. So what is nucleosomes? So 1997, Caroline Luger group has published the structure. You can see that nucleosomes are made of two copies of histone S3, H4, H2 and H2B, where it has basically two domains, N-terminal domain and histone N-terminal domain and histone fold domain. Histone fold domains are important for histone-histone interactions, and the N-terminal tail of histone S3, where this cancer-associated mutation has been discovered, and it came into limelight after 2012. And I want to say that this N-terminal tail protrude out through the histone octamer, and it undergo a number of post-translational modifications. I am not going through all, I'm just giving example of histone S3, which is heavily modified. For example, lysine 36 has been methylated as well as acetylated. And there are also others residue which go heavily post-translational modification. So nowadays we try to categorize the enzymes and protein. We call writer proteins, which basically lays out the modification. And there are proteins which remove this modification. We usually try to classify it as an eraser protein. And there are also proteins which try to bind this post-translational modification. We call it a reader protein. So interestingly, what is shown so far before the histone discovery in 2012, that these chromatin modifying complexes have frequent mutation or altered expression in various cancers. And my future project will be looking at some demethylases, which is a histone eraser. I will talk very little about that. And also, I want to focus on this talk about basically about histone S3 mutation, which were first discovered in pediatric high-grade glioma, where you can see here the pons of carry almost 78% of these tumors arising from the pons carry S3.3K27M mutation. And the cortex region of the tumor has 36% S3.3G34R and V mutations. what is interesting that after 2012, other papers were published where S3K36M mutation has been discovered in chondroblastoma, and 92% of giant cell tumors have G34W or G34L mutation. For us, since the two distinct regions in the body are having this sort of histone mutation, so the interesting question was that what is the biology behind it? How these mutation are important, what is role playing, because two distinct regions of the cells are giving same sort of mutation. So by the time we started to study very quickly, the mechanism of S3K27M, S3K36M has been published, and they were they have like a dominant effect on the cells. I will talk about that. But nothing was known about S3G34 mutation. So we tried to use Fusion Yeast as a model organism to understand it. The reason behind this is in human, there are 15 genes which encode different histone S3 protein. And the mutation is in only one allele, which is a somatic recurrent mutation in only one allele of these genes. So in order to understand the biological function of this mutation, because remember that this cancer has also mutation in other proteins. For example, S3G34R or V mutation, those tumors has also mutation in P53 as well as chromatin remodeler ATRX. So we thought that in yeast, since there are 3 genes which encode histone S3, and you can see here, the chromosomal location had been shown over here, and they encode identical histone S3 protein. And what is interesting that if you can delete from these 2 locus, S3 and S4 protein, so you have a cell with only 1 copy of histone S3 and H4, and this is very much phenotypically looking very similar to a cell which has a 3 copies. So this allows us, this actually provide us a good tractable model organism. So now you can go ahead and make mutation on histone S3 or S4, and just you can study their biological function comparing to wild type. So now we use molecular biology technique, and what we're trying to understand in all our assay, we are comparing with a Fusion Yeast strain which has only 1 copy of histone and S3. We call it sole copy wild type, this strain. And also you have a mutation in HST2 locus, which is S3G34R or G34V. So in all our assay, we are comparing these 2 cells. And also we will try to understand the dominance phenotype by introducing mutation of these mutation along with the wild type. So what I'm trying to say here that this allows us to understand the biological function. Now we try to address several biological functions, and I will try to go shortly, quickly, one by one. And these are already published works. So a detailed study has been done and it is published. But basically, I will come with the major phenotype and try to give explanation in such a short time. So the first question we try to understand, since G34 is very close to lysine K36, which undergo methylation as well as acetylation. So we try to understand that what is the effect on S3K36 trimethylation. So we did Western blot and we found that G34R and G34V cells has reduced S3K36 trimethylation, and they have little bit increased S3K36 dimethylation. I want to point out here one important thing. When you are doing Western blot with a mutation very close to that against a mark, that mark might impair the binding of the antibody. So each and every assay, we have a wild type histone peptide as well as a mutant peptide, and we try to determine the binding affinity for each antibody, and then we were done this sort of experiment. So we find that there are very good antibody for H3K36 trimethylation, but for H3K36 dimethylation, the binding was little bit reduced on G34V and G34R peptides. So this was we were able to show that majorly G34V and R cells has a reduced H3K36 trimethylation. We did quantitative mass spectrometry to look for H3 acetylation, and we did other H3 acetylation marks also. What we found that G34R cells has a reduced K36 acetylation. So from this study, we were basically shows that this mutation has impact on post-translational modification close to lysine 36. So next question, while we were doing this research, there were a number of papers came out in parallelly were showing that H3K36 modification has been associated with defect in DNA damage repair. And we choose, so we try to stress these drugs with drugs which basically called replication stress, such as MMS, methyl methane sulfonate, camptothecin, and hydroxyurea. And also we treat the cells with radiomimetic drugs or radiation itself and look for the phenotype. So in yeast, you can do a 5-fold serial dilation assay where you have like you grow the cells and spot on the plate with and without drug. And you can appreciate here that G34R cells are very sensitive to hydroxyurea, which is a ribonucleotide reductase inhibitor, and it depletes DNTP. So basically, it produces replication stress. It also sensitive to methyl methane sulfonate, which is a DNA methylation, DNA alkylating agent, and it also produces replication stress. And camptothecin is topoisomerase 1 ligase inhibitor. So all these drug which has been used at the concentration which cause DNA damage on replication. So G34R cells were very sensitive to hydroxyurea, MMS, and camptothecin, but G34V were not. Interestingly, when we did the bleomycin or geosine experiment, which are radiomimetic drugs, we see that G34V cells are sensitive to these drugs, but R is not. We did actual gamma irradiation experiment and we come to the same conclusion. So interestingly, what I'm trying to make here that in terms of post-translational modification, there is a difference between G34R and V. If you remember my previous slide, G34R and V both has reduced K36 trimethylation, but G34R cells has only reduced K36 acetylation, but not G34V. And here we are seeing difference in terms of sensitivity of different DNA damaging agent. We try to look for which repair pathway is important for this, and for that we choose RAD51. So in yeast you can do a genetic interaction experiment very quickly. So we make double mutant with G34V, RAD51 delete, and G34R and RAD51 delete. And what we found that G34R is epistatic with RAD51 delete. It means G34R is acting through homologous recombination pathway, and G34V RAD51 double delete has enhanced activity. We have also other evidence. We have done the homologous recombination assay. We have looked for other assay also, which I'm not going to discuss in detail. But from this, we found that G34R has defect in homologous recombination, but G34V cells have not. So next, obviously, was that is there any problem with the heterochromatin maintenance? Because these are the one things you look first, or these cells have any sort of genome instability without any treatment DNA damaging agent. So we did two type of assay. We did mini chromosome loss assay and lagging chromosome assay. This assay, I'm not going to detail, but in mini chromosome loss assay, you have a mini chromosome marked with a color AD6 gene. If you lose this mini chromosome, the colony will be pink. And if you retain the mini chromosome, then it will be white. And we use SWI6 which is a fusionist homologue of HP1. And if you do not have SY6, you will lose heterochromatin and you will see a lot of mini chromosome loss. This is well reported for a long time. So we use this as a positive control. What we see that G34R cells has loss in mini chromosome, but not in G34V. You can also count a lagging chromosome, where you can count late NFA cells, where the tubulin is more than 10 microlen. And in wild type cell, you see the chromosomes are beautifully separated, but in mutate, if you have a lagging chromosome, you can see that the DNA is trapped along the tubulin. So we counted the cells and we used CLAR4 delete, which is a S3K9 methyltransferase. It is a SUVA39H homologue of mammalian cells. So positive control has showing a lot of loss in lagging chromosome. What we found that G34R cells has also lagging chromosome. So but not G34V. So from these two studies, what we concluded that G34R cells has inherent genome instability, but G34V has not. So the first thing is arise. This is because of the large size or because of the charge. So for that, we made a panel of mutation at glycine 34, and we look at making G34K, G34M, G34W, and Q mutations. What we found that only G34K has reduced S3K36 trimethylation, but M, W, and Q has no effect. And remember that G34W mutation is discovered in chondroblastoma. So we also tested other phenotype, and I want to just summarize this. What we found that G34K cells are sensitive to your G34K cells are very close to G34R, but other mutant are not sensitive to either MMS, camptothecin, bleomycin, and geosin. G34K cells are also sensitive to gamma irradiation, and it is also showing some lagging chromosome phenotype. So this tells that the single substitution at glycine 34, that different mutant is causing different phenotype, and we were able to understand this phenotype by use of this fusionist system, and we work on other phenotype also, and we have published in the paper. Now we were trying to understand that, okay, so what we got that G34R and G34V has reduced K36 trimethylation, and the altered post-translational modification caused defect in DNA damage repair, and the genome instability was not due to defect of the heterochromatin maintenance. I didn't show the data, but we have done that experiment, and heterochromatin is not perturbed in G34R cells. What we found that G34R cells had inherent genome instability when we assayed with lagging chromosome assay or mini chromosome assay. And if you substitute different amino acid with G34, you see different sort of phenotypic, implicating that these mutants are very complex. So next we look for transcription regulation. Again, I'm not showing a lot of data, but what we found that G34R and G34V, when compared with SET2, remember that SET2 is the only enzyme which do S3K36 trimethylation. So here we found that G34K and G34R are very close to each other. If we look for the transcript from like 1 to 300 kb from the ends of the chromosome and 1 and 2, we found that G34R and V cells has suppressing this subtelomeric transcript. And I also want to mention that I'm not presenting the data. This subtelomeric transcript has been associated with NOV formation. We have done those experiments in collaboration with the Japanese group, where we look for how the chromatin structure is important at this region for causing telomeric silencing. So overall, there is no defect in terms of those genes, in terms of any genes important for regulation of the DNA damage or any DNA damage repair pathway genes are not perturbed. Set to delete cells, we see a lot of up and down regulation in the genes. G34 are little bit middle, and then G34V was very similar to it. The profound effect was we found that they have opposite regulation in terms of G34R and SET2. So next thing you can do here in histone field, that it has been shown that if you have H3K27M or H3K36M mutation along with the wild type copy, and you do the Western blot for H3K27 trimethylation, you will lose in H3K27M mutant. So it is acting as a dominant. Even in presence of wild type copy, the whole cell has loss of H3K27 trimethylation in H3K27M mutant expressing along with the wild type. Same phenomena with H3K36M, and well established. So we'll try to look that is G34R is causing any defect. Is it causing any dominance effect? So what we did that we mutate G34R and V along with the wild type copy. And what we found here that G34R cells has showing a very dominant effect for hydroxyurea sensitivity. It's showing effect for subtelomeric transcription, repression, and it also has defect for homologous recombination. I am not showing the data. So some phenotype, we see dominance effect for G34R, but the most of phenotype is gone if you have an additional wild type copy of histone S3. So from these studies, we were trying to address the very basic biological question using this yeast as a model organism. And we were trying to summarize that G34R and G34V, due to difference in the chromatin modification, they have a different sensitivity in terms of DNA damage effect. And also in terms of transcription regulation, G34R is causing subtelomeric transcription repression, but G34V cells are not. So we hope that this phenotype will be shared in mammalian cancer cells. And the reason other thing is, like, if you try to understand this in mammalian cell, if you remember, I told that mammalian cell has a P53 mutation and it has also ATRX mutation. And both of the mutation has been implicated in DNA damage. So if you, on top of that, if you make a G34R mutation, it will be very hard to tease out which one is contributing to which, because G34R, P53 and ATRX, this mutation has been together discovered. And from our data, we were trying to a little bit convinced that G34 mutation is also contributing to genome instability. So it was kind of making some kind of connections that all these three mutations has somehow caused genome instability and it is associated with cancer. This is the only thing we have tried to make up. And then the other thing is each mutation, histone mutation is different. If you are just studying even in a single, in a yeast model organism, which is very genetically tractable. With this, I thought I will just try to move about my future work. So the first part of the project here as a Ramalinga Swamy Fellow, for me, it was interesting because for a long period of time, it was known that people have used DNA damaging drug as a cancer treatment, but what if you combine with chromatin modifier? So we thought that if we approach the DNA damage effect from chromatin point of view. So we try to take a gene synthetic lethality approach where you have, if mutation in either reader or eraser protein or DNA approach, the cell will survive. But if you combine these two mutations together, either will survive or you will lead to death. And this sort of approach has been successfully demonstrated where the Team Morthy group have found that they found that SET2 is synthetically lethal with V1 in Saccharomyces pombe. You cannot get this double mutant. So from that, they got this idea that if we target V1 in SET2 deficient human cells, it might cause, and they published this as a very beautifully. So a synthetic lethal interaction in which S3K36 type deficient cancer are actually sensitive to V1. So this provides me that, okay, we can come up with those histone demethylases which are very relevant in the cancer, and then choose only those and try to address in the fission yeast. And if you get the phenotype, will translate into the mammalian cell. So our idea was we use genetic and chemical screen together, and then our assay should look like that the wild type cells will not be affected, but your mutant of interest will be affected. And if you get the lethal interaction, you can try it in further more relevant system. So what I'm doing here, I have made I have identified which demethylases are important, and I am making a double mutant with different DNA repair pathway. And in this stage, I am doing phenotypic analysis. And the second part of the project was to look for like bioactive dietary component, which has been implicated in cancer prevention, but their pathway is not known. So quickly we were trying to figure it out that what are different epigenetic, different bioactive dietary compound which are available, and we look for a drug called quercetin, and quercetin has been well studied, but we look some epigenetic target. What we read, I come up with, see that quercetin has been both implicated in acetylation as well as in deacetylation. So it was not clear that how this can happen. Is it due to off-target effect or some downstream effect? So in yeast, you have this target deletion library available, so you can quickly address these drugs on using yeast, and try to figure out that what is which pathway is important. And for that, we apply the same approach which I have mentioned here. And what I did that I try a number of concentration which has been used in a different cell line, and we found that if you use quercetin from 30 almost 15 micromolar to 250 micromolar, you will see the growth defect. So what we did same type of spotting assay. We grow the cells, and using ImageJ software, we try to quantify. So the first, we quantify the colony size from the first to first which is treated, and as you can see that in comparison to the first spot, there is a decrease in size. We have done this at a number of other concentration, and what we found that if you gradually increase the concentration, you will gradually lose the effect of the drug, and at 4 micromolar, 2 micromolar, you will see the effect is gone. We have also done the other studies regarding this, and this is kind of a story we try to finish as quickly as possible. So these are my immediate goals, which I try to accomplish quickly. And my long-term goal is for just like the histone mutation I explained in 2012, the list is gradually increasing. And there are a lot of things which are unknown. So sidewise, I try to generate some data like mutation on E1052K or QE972K. These mutations are very recurrent and identified by various groups. So at this stage, we try to make this mutation in yeast and try to figure it out what is doing in terms of biology. And parallelly, I will try to set up the human culture system so that we can address it there also. So regarding this, this project is just, I try to come up with a collaboration, because when I joined AIIMS, I wanted to do a little bit different from what I have done from postdoc. and I saw about this CAR T cell therapy, and I read about this, and what is shown that the K27M mutant DIPG overexpress GD2, and people have made CAR T cells against GD2, and they have shown efficacy. And there are also, this paper is coming about talking about histone demethylase has some role in increasing the infiltration of the T cells. So sidewise, we were published a review and try to come up with a grant as a co-PI. So this one was my very long-term project. I was trying to get into it. So with this, I think I will thank you, my postdoc mentor, Dr. Janet Patris. And this, since my postdoc lab was basically heterochromatin initiation, maintenance, and how it forms lab, we found this DNA damage pathway, and then we looked this phenotype in collaboration with Dr. Matthew Connell, and we have this bioinformatics collaborator at St. Jude, and we also mass spec and Dr. Andrew from Fox Chase Center. And I'm fortunate enough to get the Ramalinga Reentry Fellowship so that I can pursue my project here. And thank you everyone for listening. Thank you so much. I am ready for any questions and clarifications.
Hello, Rajesh. I will just start with anybody starts before that. It's an excellent work, and
thank you, sir.
And you have been trying to understand many of the things, but there are too many things on your plate.
Yes, sir, definitely. Yeah.
So, and it is very unclear things that what is, I appreciate your zeal and interest to do many things at a time. So this may create problem also, but it is important to focus.
Okay, sir.
You see, so one cannot do too many things, and it has to be, first thing is that you have taken up a very good aspects of the DNA repair and chromatin remodeling,
yes,
and
sir.
the histone mutations. There are several questions which was never answered.
Yes, sir.
And I know you have done the postdoctoral things, so that is very good, and you have got some publications also. But then it is very difficult to correlate. You know, the Saccharomyces bombae, and
yes.
then what is the correlations with the human cancer system?
Agree,
and,
sir. Totally agree. Yeah.
Because the yeast doesn't suffer from cancer, and
Yes,
the
sir.
chromatin, you have taken the heterochromatin because the lab is of heterochromatin persons. So we have because I have a special interest in heterochromatin also. Some publications. My first publications was when I just not joined the PhD. I was waiting for my guide to return from abroad, and I did my own, and it was published in Chromosoma. I think you have a paper in Chromosoma.
Yes,
so,
sir. Yeah.
BHU. So so this is, I know, and that is on chromatin, heterochromatin showing in grasshopper. So
Okay,
how that it fluoresces and the sex chromosome, and so that I'm not going to tell about that. But heterochromatin is one of our, and it is one of the major aspect of our laboratory. I did work on that. The speciation and the maintenance, speciation, the role of heterochromatin in speciation.
Yes, sir.
So this is, but this is very interesting basic science and basic science, and it has
yes, sir.
correlations with the, but it is important to correlate. But then you see, this is itself, you have also realized that the H3 mutations, whatever format may be H3.3, H334, G34, and V, and there are several formats. But then there are also other mutations.
Yes, sir.
So
Definitely. Yes, sir. It's not the only mutation. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the P53 mutations. But how how do we correlate? Because we have spent, I myself spent for almost going to be a 5 decade on cancer. So, and p53, I have several papers on this also.
Definitely, sir. Yeah.
This is almost 50% of the cancer. So the p53 mutations, and it is the guardian of the genome. So here also you have the, in the glioma and all, have the p53 mutation. So which is the specific mutation, which is the target? So this is, so long we do not find the target, it is difficult to go for any drug development or anything. So
Yes, sir.
one can have good publications, certainly. So that is why it is better to focus. So you should take about that. And again, you talk about some review you have written, the Hellion journal, that the CAR T cells. That is altogether a different game altogether. That's a field.
Yeah.
We work on cancer and also work on stem cell also. So
I totally understand, sir.
yeah, so it is better, and you are certainly doing excellent and very good work, but you have to focus. Then only you will, at the end of the day, you will be able to contribute. I can understand, as you are young, you are excited to do many things at a time. That is good.
Sir,
but maybe,
sir, the thing is, like, whenever I try to submit to any funding agency, they say that what is its clinical relevance.
yes.
This is not problem in here also. In USA also, I have the film where you are working from the fusionist lab, and you know this thing, that thing. So these are the reason I try to gradually. I love my fusionist work, and I try to generate those data in very short time, and I try to work on it parallelly. It's not that I'm trying to leave it, but since the demand is, funding agency has always this, they ask me why you are not making G34R and mutation in
Mammalian cells.
and so that
Yes,
the
yes,
phenotype.
because it
And
is
I
in
go-
India also, it is very important that they will surely ask the what is the clinical relevance. So it is also very strict here in India also.
Yes.
When you write other projects, I don't know you have yet written or not.
Yes,
Those who have
I
joined here
have,
in
yeah.
my in MET here, they generally go for the other projects also
Yes.
same time. So you will also write the projects, and they will also ask for the clinical relevance. And
Yes.
also you have the other Kalajar, this Donavani, that Lismania, you have what good work on the Lismania.
Yeah, yes, sir. So the reason I didn't, the reason, let me just tell this thing. I always wanted to do some, those things, those projects I have written all it down. But the same thing, like I just try to write this for Ramalinga, which I, the postdoctoral work, because they will think that, okay, you have done Lismania works 5 years ago.
Yes.
Why you are trying to come back? But yes, I totally, but there are so many things still need to be done in terms of.
Yeah, there is endless. There is no any topic you take, there is endless. But you have to focus. That is what I told. No, you have to select which one you go.
Okay.
And you can just, my last question maybe, what do you want to do? You want to go for the Leishmania line, or the infection, the host pathogen interactions and that line, or on cancer line? What is it your choice?
So first I will try to focus about the chromatin aspect of DNA damage. This is my first
that much when
and I will take a couple of paper out from here, and I will get time and opportunity and good setup. Then depending on that, I may try to contribute, but my priority is right now.
Yeah, DNA repair people.
Work on Ramalinga fellow.
Those are in the India working
part.
on DNA repair. You know, there is a ISC group, the biochemistry, and in abroad in Methodist Hospital, and he was in Columbia, and Tej Pandita, he has a huge contributions in this DNA repair, MOF, and DNA repair, and ataxia telangiectasia he has shown in cancer, and chromatin remodeling, and their role in the cancer and DNA repair. It has a biggest role, and it has not many people works in this field. That way you to be distinguished. That's why you have to select.
Especially, sir, Keystone work is just getting acknowledged. It is just discovered 2012 and it just been 8 years. So Keystone, the work which I have been carrying through, I try to stick to it because this is the one new things coming up and there are many things. So
yes, but stone work is fine, but you have to correlate with a clinical system.
Yes.
What is the
Yeah.
model? So that is the questions. That is what you have to select it. Whether you go in the pathogenesis line, the Leishmania, or in the cancer, because these are mostly related to the cancer. The chromatin epigenetics and the DNA repair. This is all the part of the game of the mainly very vigorously work on the in relation to the cancer. So you have to very carefully select the line of, and accordingly you have to specialize in the line.
yes.
So right.
Thank you, Dr. Das.
Yeah.
And Rajesh, you have done wonderful work. Now
Thank you,
your foundation has become very strong. You have now well spread, established yourself with your experience, learning technologies, techniques. And what is the focus on as Dr. Das was mentioning, in Ramalinga Swami Fellowship itself, which part you are focusing, how far you have achieved, and then what else is remaining to be done? Because you are already operationalized the Ramalinga Swami Fellowship. Can you tell us the total scope, how much has been done and how much remaining to be done?
So the project I wrote was very broad aspect. Title covered was very broadly. So from there I narrowed down a lot, and then I'm only just focusing on histone demethylases which are relevant, and also I have like I put as a due to chemical screen, and then I were not able to get the thing set up because there are a lot of things required for that. So I did move to targeted stuff. And as far as completion, I would say that almost like 40%, 30 to 40% has been done, and still a lot of things need to be done. For
Right.
that.
And how many more years you have?
I have more than 2 years, I think. Yeah.
More than 2 years. Okay. And so how?
So now the initial days when I was join the lab, I take time. So that's why trying to collaborate with this CAR T cell therapy. The group was here. And I found it interesting. So I thought that while I was doing this work, let me, when my lab is getting set, let me do these things and come up with literature and come up with the idea. But that project is still not get funded because there was lack in expertise and other things. But I found it very interesting.
But I don't think you have any contribution in this stem cell. So you cannot do it overnight. You cannot go to the.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is the problem. Yeah.
Yeah. You cannot get the projects at all.
Yes,
Your
sir.
area
Yeah.
is different.
Yes. Yes, sir.
You
Yeah.
may be interested in writing a review. Doesn't mean that you are expert in that.
Yes, sir. Totally agree with you. Yeah.
So Rajesh, coming back to this, now how soon you will be able to join here? What are your plans that you are thinking in terms of coming to Amity?
So if I will trying to move as quickly as possible, it's possible I will try to get the administrative work done as quickly as possible, because I don't want to spend a lot of time here, and I have not. That's why I didn't have spend any grant money for this year. So it is with me. So as quickly I will move, but I'm thinking how it will go.
Yeah, and also the equipments, consumables, which you have already
And
procured.
all those will have to transfer from there. So I have to figure it out, transportation of all those things.
Right.
Yes, but I want to do it as quickly as possible.
Okay,
I think
now-
you have not been able to produce any paper from there yet. Not
Yes,
that other, your Ramalinga project, on Ramalinga Swami project.
Yes, sir. As a corresponding author, I have not published. There are unpublished data.
There are, yes.
Which
So
I am
that is
trying
why
to-
it is, I think you are right. you need to move as fast as possible so that
Yes, sir.
where there is a facility, you can carry on your work.
Right.
Yes,
The,
sir.
the next part is, at the end of the 5 years, what will be the deliverable you will be giving out of this Ramalinga Swami Fellows? What is the end deliverable? Is it a knowledge? Is it a candidate for therapeutic agent? And so what will be the outcome and deliverable at the end of the Ramalinga Swami Fellowship which you complete?
I would say that it will be a knowledge paper. I don't know how much I will, how will I have got few interesting candidate, but like I have made mutation, I got but they are, I'm just still characterizing them. So I would say that I would able to contribute in knowledge. That's what.
Yeah. But ultimately, Amity, we always want to have an end solution. Otherwise, keep on doing research for another 30 years also, we'll keep doing publishing papers, filing patents. But we must ultimately, if you have to give something to the society back, you have to find a solution problem. But these are all steps moving, but you should move very fast with strategy using AI. Which one is the potential candidate for arriving at talk to? There is one Dr. Kamal Rawal in our Amity University. He has developed a platform, AI-based platform on which you can look at these candidate, the genes as well as the biomarkers if you have. So he will be able to say what will be the toxicity, what is the potential success you will reach when you go to mammalian cell lines as well as clinical trials. He will be able to predict with certain level of accuracy using this AI platform. So like this, you should now work with smartness and strategy so that with that goal of giving something to society. Otherwise, publishing, you will increase your biodata, country will increase its statistics. But if you have to give something to the patients, you need to have that macro picture always, even when you are doing this path on histidine or histones, and all the expressions of genes, relevant genes. Yes, important. But these are the steps, but that goal should be very clear. I am going here. This is one step, second step, third step, fourth step. I have reached here. So this planning is, Amity is always committed to that kind of translational research as well as the publications are important, patents are important. But Dr. Ashok Chauhan, the founder president, always says, you must have something deliverable coming out, some solution immediately. It may not be the final solution, but I have given a relief now. Then I will give a second relief, third relief, and finally problem is solved. So this is what you youngsters, all of you, should keep in mind that yes, publishing papers, you get fellowship, academies, invitation, recognition for you. But what you will give to society will be depending on the solution you give. So keep that in mind. You are capable. That's why I'm telling. Okay, what do you? So how far you are using this candidate to find a solution?
I think.
Okay, you start thinking in that line. Okay.
Thank you. I think it will take some time.
Right. Yeah. So I'm imbibing this in every mind, all youngsters, that is most important. Otherwise, we will get everything, but nothing goes to the society as such. Except, yes, advancement in knowledge here happens. That's also very important. Basic research is very important. Molecular level studies are important. But that macro picture should always be there at every step. Okay, Manoj, now you can take up other questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So, Rajesh, it was a wonderful talk, and I think you have to move fast from there to progress.
Yes.
And if you need any help to, transfer your consumable or equipment, if you are feeling, if you need some help, I will be more than happy.
Dr. Garg, I would request you to turn off your camera because your voice is breaking.
Okay, so now my voice is clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we do have some questions from the audiences. Okay. So we will go to them one by one, and then I will ask you one or two questions.
Okay.
So there is one question. Is there any possibility of methylation of arginine residue in the H3G34R mutant? This is asked by Dr. Jayasa. She also work on
Yes.
the similar field which you are working. So I think that will be helpful.
Yes. So actually,
And she is also, sorry to interfere, she's also one of the Ramalinga Swami Fellow associated with AIMMSCI department. Yeah, so please.
the
please take
question is G34 to R. Now it's R, so it can undergo any arginine methylation or not, right?
Yes.
Yes. So we have done those experiments, and it is already published as a review, because our group has published, because we made the arginine mutation, and we didn't find any suitable genes. We can certainly see that you can methylate in vitro, but in vivo we didn't find any evidence of arginine methylation. But in vitro we made the peptide, we did the methylation assay, and we found that yes, you can in vitro make arginine methylation. But that is very good questions, because a lot of people are trying to understand that this is not a simple story that arginine methylation is existing. But in vitro, yes, it undergo methylation. In vivo, we didn't find any evidence.
Okay, thank you. So another question is from Dr. Pallavi Agarwal. She is also a Ramalinga, and she also work on epigenetics and histone chromatin modifier field. So she wanted to see first say very good presentation, and just wanted to ask you how transcriptomic pattern of for mutation correlate with the if not, how they are different.
Voice is breaking.
Yes, Dr. Garg, we are losing your voice. Should I read out the question?
Yeah, you can read out, or I can read out.
Yes, you're audible
So she
now.
wanted to
Please
know,
repeat. Please repeat.
how the transcriptomic pattern of G34 mutation correlate with the SET2 delta pattern.
Okay. So what we found that SET2 delete cells has a lot of transcriptional misregulation. There are genes which going up and down, but in G34R the effect was not similar to SET2 delete, specifically at the subtelomeric region, which we call, if in East from 100, from the ends up to around 300 kV, we call it ST region. So in ST region, we find opposite regulation. In SET2, we found the upregulation of those genes, but in G34R mutation, we found downregulation. And also there is commonality between SET2 delete and G34R. The antisense transcription are both are up increased in SET2 as delete as well as G34R cells. So this is the major thing we find out. But yes, there are common genes which were upregulated or downregulated in both, and also there are genes. There are certain number of genes which are up and down. They are more than twofold increase or decrease. But the major finding was this one: we see opposite regulations. That's why we thought in G34 cells, they are very different from SET2 delete cells. Even they have this loss of K36 trimethylation. Is that answer my questions? I think, yeah.
I think that partly answered the question. So coming back to the question, Dr. Dr. Das and Dr. Silmurthy asked that how you are going to relate it translationally, like patient level. So
Yes, I mean,
to know, did you look at what is the percentage of this mutation in the patient samples?
so yeah, I mean, clinically, it is very difficult to say that the phenotype would be very similar to mammalian cell. I totally understand. The only thing
No,
I think the question is, it is the phenotype is relevant to clinical. That's
no,
all.
no, no. My question was, what is the percentage of the mutation in the pediatric glioma? It is 5%, 10%, 20 and 30%. What is the rate of the mutation?
So 36% of the cells that this mutation are in 36% G34R, and G34V is less frequent.
So if you figure out that what is the percentage, and then how, you talk about that they do have the different pattern, and we do have, various kind of HDAC inhibitor which can have an effect on the acetylation. So did you look in that aspect, the cells which have mutation when you use the HDAC inhibitor in that context?
No, we have not looked at that.
And then third question is about when you talk about a synthetic lethal approach, we know that BRCA1 mutation or BRCA2 mutation also lead to the genomic instability. And because of that, a PARP inhibitor came into the existence. If you add more genomic instability, cell will die.
Yes.
So did you look into that aspect? If you think there is a genomic instability, not because of H3, H34, G34B, but there is ATRX, P53 also. So there is a huge genomic instability because they all work in the genomic instability path.
Yes, that was the story we are trying to sell. Yeah, that it is making some sense because this is also contributing, but we don't know in mammalian cells, as far as I know.
So I think when you come here, you can look at this aspect, and then it has a direct clinical relevance because PARP inhibitor are already approved by FDA. They are in the clinic. So they are on the same synthetic lethal approach. So I think when you join the group, you will able to understand at the mammalian level, then the yeast level. I think this is what the Professor Das, Dr. Silvamurthy, and Dr. Rajiv Sharma sir was trying to tell you that how you can translate your research further for the society benefit. There is a relevance, but you are not able to correlate it right now. So I
that's
think,
true.
So
Thank you, Manoj.
Very good
think
suggestion.
Manoj has put it in the right perspective, Yadav.
Yes.
So he has given that, but keep that in mind always. No, that should be ringing all the time. Okay, I should move. So that direction. Then your family would also be moving with you when you shift everything.
Yes.
Right. So Sharmaji, you can guide him accordingly. I think if there is no other question, you can give the concluding remarks and we can take this forward. And at the earliest, we will be very happy to receive you at the earliest here after we decide.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to move as quickly as possible because I have already.
So,
I'm already thinking in terms of moving and stuff like making lists.
Yeah. So Dr. Raj, thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Rajesh, so my staff actually, Neha and Harjinder will be. Yeah, Dr. Rajesh, actually, Neha and or Harjinder will be actually in touch with you for other formalities, actually, whatever is the required process is required, actually, we will advise you.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you very much, actually, for joining us, actually. Looking forward.
And blessings to you, Rajesh, from Amity.
Thank-
Do well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you
your
everyone
career,
for
your
listening,
life.
and thank you for all the suggestions. I am always up for the suggestions from all the experience and distinguished professors and everything. Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
all.
Can
you.
we
All
have
the
the
best.
closing
All
remarks
the
from
best to
Dr.
Rajesh.
Manoj Garg?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Dr.
All
Das
the
will
best.
give the concluding
Yeah,
remarks.
right, right.
ठीक है.
Das,
Yeah.
your last word is from you, Das.
Yeah.
No, nothing but wish him all the best, and you can move as quickly as possible,
Yes.
and so that you can be joined with the group here
Yes.
in Amity, Noida. There are they have already named that JASA is working on the same line, and there is a stem cell and cancer. So you can join, and there is a host pathogen interaction group.
Okay.
You can have, there is a person from that area, from your area also.
Okay.
That Kajal Kanchan and others, there
Okay.
is a group of host pathogen interaction. You
Mhm.
can have the other interest also maintained.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. For,
So, and all the facility, best facility is available. So, and the surroundings, all other, there are a lot of Ramalinga Swami fellow. And
Mhm.
also I would say that today it is a great information. Yesterday shared by, what is her name? I forgot. The other girl,
Neha? Shefali.
Samaji.
Yeah, Shefali keh rahe hain kiska?
Shefali. Yeah,
Yeah,
Shefali informed
yes.
yesterday, and Samaji knows that
Yeah.
it is a opening of the account. Rather, we have the first, the Welcome Trust fellow joining us from
Wow.
Bombay IT. And it is not that just joining the Welcome Trust fellow, but the Welcome Trust has approved joining to Amity University at the molecular medicine. That means
Right.
they have
Okay.
accepted
Good
our
to hear.
facility, our expertise and all. That is the great achievement. That initiate the things that we will have many more Welcome Trust fellows now. So
Right.
this is the first fellow who is joining the Welcome Trust fellow. So Welcome Trust has approved yesterday. That is the, at I think at about 9 o'clock, Shefali informed me, and that was a great information. So
Yeah, definitely nice to hear. Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
good. And many of our biochemists are here. You are also biochemist and molecular biologist. So there are a lot of things overlaps. And so it will be joining to a good institute organization. So thank you, all the
Right.
best.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
very
sir.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
everyone, for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Okay.
you, everyone.
Okay, all the best. Right.